Another thing that can show up for people as they're letting go of the energy, because again, this is all about letting go of energy, because when you let go of the investment in the energy and the energy expenditure, when you let go of that, you're using less and less energy. And what can show up for people as they start to do that is there can be a feeling of fear that arises, or there's a feeling of death, like there's a fear of death that shows up. But the whole reason that's showing up is because you're getting at the primordial level. That is ego death. You're looking ego death in the face. Keep going. Keep unplugging and keep letting go. You're never going to lose yourself. This is the path to freedom. The trap doesn't want you to leave the trap, so it tries to scare you into thinking that if you leave the trap, you'll be more trapped. But that will not happen. Once you become free, once you cognize freedom, you can always go back to the trap. And that happens to most people. Most spiritual seekers have had moments of liberation. They've had moments of deep God realization where they feel totally free. But then they get pulled back into the personal mode. But then they don't understand the mechanics of what's happening. But once you get clear on the mechanical level that this is about less energy, letting go of the energy and allowing it to return to source, which is your true nature, which is what you authentically are, that's God realization. That's freedom. That's where all the divine qualities, the divine subtle qualities lies, when your energy is very subtle and quiet and not being expended, not being drained, not being invested in mental resistance. But so when those fears show up, or when that fear of death shows up, that's actually a good thing. That's a good thing. And that's just, it's like before, that wasn't being seen because there was other layers of resistance layered on top of it. But as you withdraw more and more and more, it's like you're becoming less and less and less and less. And you're becoming quieter and subtler, and everything's becoming still. And it feels like, from the perspective of the ego, it feels like death. It feels like disappearing. And it is going to no thingness. Before unity consciousness, before the fullness, you have to go to no thingness. You have to go to that complete absence of energy. And when you can be the pure space itself, the complete no energy, the complete no thing, no investment, no energetic expenditure whatsoever, when you can rest in that void state, that's when things begin to change. And right behind that corner, right behind the void state, is unity. The void state and unity are one and the same. That no thingness is the fullness. But you have to, before you can recognize yourself as the fullness, recognize yourself as the no thingness, as the formless. And then the bliss can begin to pour over into the experience, and you can start to cognize and see those very subtle qualities of felt loving unity with all forms of experience and with all life forms. And life takes on this reverence. It takes on this exalted reverence. It feels like everything is almost shiny. It feels like there's luminosity, and it's beautiful. And you're seeing everything. You're taking in much more information because you're no longer contracting through looking. Anytime you're looking, you're actually narrowing the perspective. But from unity, from just seeing, you're seeing much, much more. The perspective is much wider, and you're taking in much more information completely effortlessly. And then you actually merge with the present moment. You are the present moment. And it's the most incredible thing ever. But it starts with neutrality. It starts with no thingness. It starts in getting familiar with completely withdrawing your energy from this world. As long as you're investing in the mental resistance and the personal mode and the subject-object mode and the inauthenticity and the fear, desire, inauthenticity, friction, all of that is resistance. It's the same thing. It's a reaction to a resistance, and it just keeps repeating. But when you can get familiar with letting all of that go and resting in the no thingness and the neutrality, not neutrality as an emotion, but neutrality as the absence of mind. Neutrality as in no mind, no judgment, no energetic expenditure in looking. You're just seeing. Everything is just arising effortlessly as it is. That's the observer state. And then right behind that, when you can stay with that, the fullness begins to come. Because when you're in that no-thingness, there's no sense of lack. There's no thing. Sense of lack is actually a thing. That's a mental thing. That's a mental residue. But when you withdraw that and there's no sense of lack, the bliss again starts to make itself known into the forms of experience, and the perception starts to shift, and unity consciousness begins to come through. And it's the most amazing thing ever. It's beautiful. And all of the qualities that we're looking for, they lie in that subtleness. The more subtle the energy becomes, the more quiet it becomes. That's when everything gets more beautiful. It gets more quiet. It gets more alive. Everything just is. The wind, the trees. Your perception, you're still seeing everything exactly the same. It's all the same forms. The trees are still there. The computer is still there. The window is still there. All of the forms that are in front of you are still there. But because the energy is becoming more and more and more subtle, the subtle qualities begin to be cognized into perception, and they begin to emerge. They begin to reveal themselves completely effortlessly. But it doesn't happen by looking, because looking is an act of effort, and that's an not subtle act. Looking is a gross form of perception. Seeing is more subtle. And the more you rest in the seeing and just in the no-thingness and just allow things to be as they are, those subtle qualities will begin to make themselves known. And it's all of the amazing qualities. It's synchronicity. The truth is, life is always synchronistic all the time. But we don't cognize it. We're not tuned in. We're not subtly there. So we don't recognize it. And it's beauty. It's impersonal love, just complete love for everything. Unconditional love. It's telepathy with all life forms. It's fractal geometry in the nature. It's being able to cognize the fractal beauty of everything. You can see how the trees, they're repeating themselves. All of nature, it's like these repeating patterns. Yet at the same time, it's so unique and it's so diverse. But it's perfect. There's a perfection to the geometry. And then there's the leaves around the branches of the tree. There's the fractal wood, and the trunk of the tree splits off into the branches, which splits off into smaller sticks and stems. And then you have the bubbles of leaves all around the branches, and it's the most beautiful thing. And the thing is, there's no one single quality that says that you're there. Or there's many different qualities that can emerge at different times, and it just happens on its own. You don't go looking for it. Sometimes you're more tuned into the geometry and the shapes of perception and the colors and the beauty and the contrast of the colors. Sometimes it's more the layers of the experience. You can start to notice how there's many layers of the perception happening at once. There's the sky, and then there's the clouds, and then there's the trees that are closer, and then there's the water, and then there's the plants that are even closer than the water. And there's the sun, and there's the light, but there's also the sun reflecting on the eyelashes, and there's the iridescence, and there's the soft haziness from the shining of the sun. And there's the perception of all of the forms, even the peripheral forms, even what isn't being focused on. There's the seeing of everything. It's like everything is just the subtle field. And it can be Sometimes it feels more like telepathy. Sometimes it starts to feel like the trees are actually communicating with you, or you're receiving light codes from the sun, or you're starting to actually cognize and see light beings in the light. But you're not seeing anything different. It can just be the reflection of the light and the water. But because the perception is so subtly tuned in, it's so still and it's so quiet, and it's so little energy being expended, you can actually cognize these extremely subtle forms and qualities within the forms that are always there. And so you can begin to see these light beings. You can see the elementals. You can see the elements of nature and how it all comes together, and you can tune into it. You can receive codes from the water. You can feel on a felt blissful way that the movement of the water is cleansing you, that it's washing over you. But it's not washing over you, the person. It's washing over you the pure life that is the water, that is the rocks and the geese and the grass and everything. It's all you. And you can have all of that. And you already do. You just have to let go of the mental resistance. You have to let go of the energy that you're clinging to. That energy that you're clinging to, that you feel like you'll die if you let it go, that's what's keeping you away from here. That is what is keeping you from unconditional love. Because unconditional love requires no energy. It's effortless. That's your true nature. When you're contracting and you're resisting, that's a form of inauthenticity. And that's when you're not being authentic, you're not in your true nature. You feel like you're not in your true nature. And the degree to which those loving divine qualities are making themselves known in your experience, it has to do with how much or how little energy is being expended. And if the more energy that you're draining, that you're investing in mental resistance, the more gross or crude your perception is. Because your perception is your energy. Everything is your energy. But not you, the person, you, the infinite being, the pure consciousness itself, the pure life force, the one infinite, all-loving being. But you don't have to do anything to know that. It's the undoing. You have to undo. You have to let go of those energetic structures. Those structures that you're sticking to, that you're afraid to let go of, that feel scary when you look at them, when you approach them. That is the trap that's trying to keep you trapped. That trap, its life depends on you staying trapped. And you'll always be able to go back to the trap. But allow yourself to die into unity. And that death, the small death, the ego death, it's a complete inverse. There is no death. It's that death. It's the death of the pain. That death, that small death, that ego death, that's the death of the suffering. That's the death of the pain. That's the death of the struggle. That's the death of the resistance. That's why the Bible says that you should celebrate a death and mourn a birth. A birth has to do with laying down energy, laying down energetic patterns. You don't want to be giving birth to more states or more patterns. That's the opposite direction. You want to be letting go of those, letting go of the energetic expenditure, letting go of these energetic forms that we've identified with, and returning to unity. Return to unity consciousness, return to no-thingness, return to neutrality, become comfortable with neutrality, and then everything will be yours. But it won't be yours, the person. It'll be you, the infinite being. Everybody can have that.